What's up, guys? Vince Reddy here, and yeah, I'm still watching One Piece. And my goodness, I just finished Thriller Bark, and that was it was deep. There were some parts where I'm like, oh, wait, that happened? This happened? Really? And I was like, and also parts where I'm like, is that even necessary? So heads up, could be spoilers, could be not. I'm gonna try to not spoil, but at this point, it's impossible knowing to share you my opinions of all of it. But speaking opinions, what do I think about Thriller Bark? I think it was good knowing that it's a haunted setting, and it's supposed to scare you in some ways. I feel like younger me would actually be scared, but since I'm older, I'm kind of like destigmatized of where it's come to anything spooky or horror at this point, if it's not jump scares, because they're trying to go with the the looks and also the vibe of the whole entire atmosphere of Trailer Bark. And pretty much discovering the island was interesting as well, as it was dark, especially the boat, the ship that Brooke was in, as we're introduced to him. And being introduced to Brooke was very deep. It was actually one of the most compelling parts of this whole entire arc is, discovering who Brooke is. And I had a good time actually, knowing Brooke as a character, where he came from and how he is, and pretty much, how this whole story, how the crew got to know Brooke in terms of what he has been through. Because, at this point, Brooke, due to him being a skeleton, he's old and he has been through a lot. Knowing from his old friends, discovering his old crewmates before he became a skeleton, and his power and how his shadows taken away. And that's basically the whole emphasis of this, is the shadows. Pretty much, of course, we're introduced to Moria, which actually did steal a bunch of shadows, but now having to steal all the shadows and everything as the crew try to get it back, and seeing the different powers and also the different fighting shonen dynamics between Luffy and also from anyone trying to take down Straw Hat, or the Straw Hat going up against the big spider, and also the ghost girl that Usopp tried to take down. There was different parts of this where it was like good battles all around, and then different shocking moments where I'm like, how is this, how they gotta get through this, and how is this and that. Even the whole Nami, and also the perverted tiger guy, especially with Sanji and going up against the tiger guy, seems kind of lacking at some point, but it feels better when Nami is actually taking him down. So there was parts where I enjoyed the fighting a lot, especially knowing who are the different aspects of the creatures in this island, and me understanding, knowing it's like a big ship, kind of shocks me, knowing I mean, it's an island. It actually isn't. I don't know if this is spoiler alert, but it's one of the biggest ships in the world, and it kind of really drives into my interest of that aspect of knowing more about the island. Like, how did this become something, and me thinking logically, how does it float on water knowing how big it is, and it's something that I also realized that in Water 7, that iceberg, Frankie's brother, or actually Frankie's friend, that wanted the same thing for Water 7 to flow, being also the biggest island. And we kind of see this true Thriller Bark, where it's kind of access to that and showing the possibilities, but also showing is this gonna happen in the future of the future Water 7. That's what I was thinking, nah, it can't be. We're a little too far in there. And also, one scene that really got me is pretty much Zoro, his moment with the panda guy, and also that unnecessary fight. I'm just like, why? There's just a part of me where I'm like, it's not necessary for that to ever happen at all. I think it would be better, due to how everyone's worn out, taking over, trying to battle Moria, and also the Luffy zombie. Is it necessary to fight, take down this panda guy? There was a part of me where no, it's over. It's over. They could have been dead, or the panda guy could have swayed them and show some pity. But it didn't really go into that. Instead, it goes into a different length. It's different characters just pop out of left and right. There was so many unnecessary kind of business of different characters here and there, like the panda guy. But it's also some stuff that is worth seeing, and also seeing true of how they gotta take them down, and what's the strategy point for these different characters, and also what's the story behind Brooke. And I also want to understand the story of Moria. We understand the story of Shinji. That was a creepy one, but a lot of it is the creepy theme, and also the fights that comes with it. It's just captivating, at least to me. Some people, from what I heard, this is actually not really the best arc, if they're that critical and analytic when it comes down, more than me even, when it comes down to reviewing Trailer Bark if they're One Piece fans, and I really don't know. Pretty much I'm walking into this like I watch any kind of movie and stuff like that, and I enjoy Thriller Bark. I enjoy like the aspects because I'm into that kind of environment, the spooky haunted house environment of that, at least the vibe of it. Not jump scares or whatever. Even though I guess seeing that there should be jump scares at all, but I just wouldn't understand it because I'm not a kid anymore, and I'm usually not afraid when it comes to seeing this. I do understand the creepy factor of it, and that's kind of what something I appreciate, especially when the Sunny actually went through going through this one ship that Brooke is in, and it's a haunted like ship or something. At least it looks run down and everything, and has been through a lot. And then you see the ghost, and you see the skeleton, and you see the reaction of the Straw Hat crew, like, oh, what is that? What is that? Man, there is just like a good amount of fun through this episode, and also like I feel like Usopp and Nami, them going off wasn't the smart choice, Usopp and Nami, and also Chopper. I feel like there could have been some top tiers in that group, in that party, as they're trying to get into the island first, especially being introduced to little Mary. That was kind of like a good, Mary having a little like lamb as well, being the little Miss Mary that Frankie put together, which was very considerate, very nice. And I really hope they got that thing back. I'm not sure what happened to it. Maybe they found it, but man, it's been left off, knowing how many battles they've been through and how many, like, it feels like days at this point that they've been through in the island. But it all happened in one day because the sunlight didn't show up yet when the fog tried to clear up. And there is so many parts where I'm like, it's over. Like, there is just like they're going through the edge, and Luffy is at its limit. There is no limits through the Straw Hat Army, and it feels like they can go on for so long. What's interesting is the zombies actually being like a reminiscent of their previous characters that they got their shadows from, and more you're putting that and extracting it to the zombies. It's kind of like you see kind of like different phases, and there's also different clues of like what is going on with the shadows inside these different zombies and stuff like that. And that was interesting to really seek and see. And also, like, it just seems like it creates an amazing fights and here and there and situations and stuff like that. Chopper having its own like moments of looking at its idol being the surgeon, which ends up being the enemy, was interesting to say the least, knowing that Chopper still has its like credentials of being a doctor, and admiring the surgeon being the bad guy, which is, of course, it's not too hard to tell, knowing that, yeah, especially the laughs. The one thing that really is reminiscent through Thriller Bark is the laughs, and stuff like that, different laughs here and there. That, with the like stuff, I don't have a signature laugh. I don't think I do. But that's one thing that I keep seeing. I'm not annoyed by it. Maybe some people are, but it's just like, how many laughs do you have of just actually having to separate these different characters? Like the girl like having the yo yo, or having, or of course Brooke having the yo yo yo, like something like that. I mean, pretty much none of them beats the freaking guy, the CP9 pink haired, long haired individual with the yo yo. That one is still iconic to me. Okay, but of course CP9 is not. Spoilers for Water 7. But yeah, I'm pretty much trying to do these for at each arc and stuff like that. And so far, I really enjoy these different kind of like different moments of these different islands. I wish I can go to more detail to them. If I pretty much I'm doing this all off the dome. I even try to set up my notes here, and I didn't, because I'm like, you know what, F it, I'm gonna record it, I'm gonna just tell you my thoughts, and there we go. That's just pretty much what I'm giving you in this video. Is my whole thoughts, my quick thoughts about this, even though it's not really that quick. I try to actually stretch this video a little longer just to get into the algorithm, but I really enjoy Thriller Bark as its kind of entity within the Brooks history. And pretty much one thing that I really enjoyed, one of my favorites, is Laboon and Brooke, the history behind it, and also Brooks' crew, the the heartbreaking, wrenching kind of like I haven't seen them in a while, and the loneliness that Brooke has been through in that ship when losing his crew, and Laboon. actually seeing this adorable whale that I actually wasn't really introduced, because remember, I kind of just came back to Water 7. Haven't seen the previous episodes before Water 7 decades ago. And we're talking about years and years, and I probably should catch up, but at the same time, I went through Water 7 knowing that, I have a free time when I actually was in quarantine when I had COVID. And then I catch up here, and now I'm in Turtle Bark because I want to continue, because I'm very invested. I'm already in Sabaody. Okay, Sabaody, is that how you say it? At the archipelago arc. So here I am trying to actually get through this. And it's a pretty good one. I would have to say, like, my favorites, of course, the recap music of Brooks' time with everyone else. True that, his time being alive, basically, before he became a skeleton. And him playing a song, yo, 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 that was pretty much a song that was stuck in my head after leaving that episode. And him being part of the crew, like, was well deserved, even though that, pretty much Luffy was looking around different, like, monsters, stuff like that. You want to join the crew, you want to join the crew, you want to join the crew, like, it's all around there. I'm just surprised that the panda guy, he didn't ask him, because, of course, being the warlord, and Luffy was asleep with that whole consequence, because his body was at the limit. But there was strategy attacks all around that was so memorable. The characters, the fights, the moments that, I enjoyed, the little quips and stuff like that. And I feel like for, One Piece, one thing I understood is that every fight goes long. It goes long, but it goes for a certain good amount, to the point where, even there's like another fight, it just feels good to knowing that when all of it is settled, when they get to their good moments, it feels rewarding actually seeing how they're just celebrating after that whole thing, having a feast, and you see Brooke playing songs, you see Frankie and Chopper dancing. It just feels so good knowing that, all of that was well taken care of, and they can just enjoy themselves, and I kind of really enjoy that that kind of camaraderie that the storytelling really showcases, is the resting moments, the moments that they're just having fun and having a good time, and just settling down from the heart-wrenching limited fights. I think I would lose to, I probably literally one pinky finger throughout all the zombies that they attacked. I'll be dead. Pretty much I will be done. I'll be done for me. Okay, literally, like, but them actually really going up against, throughout all these other, fights that they have, especially the moment of Luffy swallowing all these zombies, forcefully, because, the humans in the island was trying to help him out, and, made him powerful, was a moment, because, there was times where I'm like, this is not possible. How can Luffy run all the way there? He's already late. It kind of reminds me of the Water 7 run when they're actually trying to rescue Robin. I'm like, you're so far away. At this point, Robin is gone at this point, realistically. But, it seems like they just found a way, they just found the speed. And at that moment, it really, the timing and everything was so perfect, at least to me, when it comes to One Piece. At least in some cases being interesting as well. And also, I do want to actually dabble a little bit on the Puzzle Sun arc, when they were at the Arctic arc, as they were at this, meeting this family, which had birds that actually did, had magnetic powers, and also this little girl that has, like, I guess, leaf powers, that Nico Robin actually spoke to, before Thriller Bark. And pretty much, if you know what the arc I'm talking about, I don't know if it's called an arc, maybe it's called, like, separate entity of, like, One Piece episodes and stuff like that. And it just seems like, I do want to talk a little bit about it. I kind of liked it. And also, it was like, a good way to actually, see. The thing is, the map setting of all this is still kind of confusing to me, because even though Nami's still making the maps, being the navigator, I'm still trying to think, like, how did they get to the Arctic, but now they ended up in the triangle, like, that easily? I thought it was like, the Water 7, and they go, so I guess they went north, because they flew away out from Gramps, Garp, and then went to, like, the Arctic, and they just flowing down to the, the triangle close to the archipelago. I try to understand the geography of this whole situation, but I guess they ended up in the Arctic. And also it creates some interesting fights, the penguin fight, the guy, Luffy versus the dad being the hot one, actually trying to, like, creating heat and creating this environment that is, like, very Islander-ish with the icing and the cake, I would say. And pretty much of course, classic Sanji being, Sanji of with Arbel. I'm like, she's taken. What are you doing? Why are you losing to the fight? Of course, Usopp actually took my reaction to it, knowing that it was like, what are you doing, Sanji? Like, different moments of that, and then we, pretty much it was all done and taken care of. As they got out, rescued their Sunny, rescued the Puzzle San, and also understanding the history of Puzzle and also the kid and also its crew of what it's been through. For a minute, I thought Puzzle was actually going to join the crew. It could have been a good duo, knowing that he also has a bounty. But it seems like, throughout that, separated arc before Thriller Bark was actually, memorable and actually was fun to see for myself as I kind of like, had to see it, of course, to get to Thriller Bark. But it was a good, melt away. And at that point, I actually watched it the one of the first episodes of that arc being in sub, and I just decided to watch it in dub, and pretty much spending a couple of dollars for that, and it was a good time. It was worth it. I definitely enjoyed that as well. So other than that, yeah, pretty much that those are my reviews for those two. It was supposed to be Thriller Bark, and I enjoyed Thriller Bark. The ending after that, when they got out, when the sun showed up and shined on their face as the gates open as their next adventure was fulfilling. And man, Thriller Bark was trashed. But also, I don't know what's gonna happen with the returning. It could be a return here and there of Moria in ways, as he was like, I guess, saved by a couple of his crewmates. But we're about to see more of that, and of course that's just a little spoiler because I don't even know if we're gonna see him in the new world. I thought they were all dead, especially the tiger and also the surgeon doctor. But I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I thought it was done for anything. I mean, the zombies are done, and the nightmares of that island or everything. And there was an interesting history of knowing that I kind of was invested to actually seek more of this particular island in a ways because it was like how did it became the island that it was, how did it became a ship, the biggest ship from what I heard of the crew, like the biggest ship in the actual world, and then turns into like there's so many factors surrounded. Like, look how big the chains, look how big the castle is, the flag, and how tall it is, but it was all crumbled down thanks to Straw Hat, Luffy pretty much, and also the Straw Hat crew. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you subscribe, like, comment, all the jazz. I'll see you when I see ya. And yeah, that was my review for Thriller Bark arc review. One love.